Welcome to Friday, September 4th, 2020. Welcome to the Day Weather Podcast. There's lots to digest in this podcast, folks. I'm throwing a lot at you. As we look ahead over the next 5 to 6 days, the weather here in the Intermountain West and Western High Plains is going to do a somersault. I think that's the best way to describe it. We have big changes coming after a hot weekend. We're going to go from one extreme to the other, and we're going to do it very quickly. Hot temperatures and dry conditions will be with us through Sunday. Hot high pressure expands across the Great Basin and into the Rockies and High Plains. Record highs could be found in some areas this weekend across the Intermountain West with 80s and 90s, even some areas pushing 100 degrees. However, much colder with rain, snow, possible late Monday and the Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Our confidence is growing. Now we're 4 days out, but based on what we're seeing, we see a lot of agreement with the computer modeling. We see a lot of agreement with the pattern and the pattern changes going on across the Northern Hemisphere, which is giving us confidence that a big change with wet conditions coming. It's really just going to be a matter of how cold it gets, for how long, and whether or not it's going to be cold enough to put an end to the growing season, because it's a real possibility that the growing season may be over in many areas by Wednesday morning. Hunters, be advised. Archery seasons have started in the Intermountain West, and there's a lot of hunters that are in the mountains hunting in short sleeve shirts right now and will be through the weekend, but will all of a sudden be dealing with mountain snow, lots of it in some areas, and a big change to wet conditions. So if you're a hunter headed to the hills this weekend and in the next week, be ready. If you're a hunter in the mountains or you're related to a hunter in the mountains, make sure you try to get word to them that this change is coming. Possible travel impacts. Hard to say this after what's coming and what we've had here lately, but possible travel impacts, especially on the mountain passes of Wyoming, Montana, and Colorado coming Monday night through Tuesday night. Now, this is where we're going to be right now. I'm setting the stage up for the next 3 days with this big hot high up into the Great Basin of Nevada and Utah. This is what's going to make it so hot over the next 3 to 4 days. But I want to show you something. While we have this hot dome of high pressure over the western United States, what I'm showing you is a look of the northern hemisphere. So if you were above the North Pole looking down, this is what it would look like. Now, if you go out here in the western areas of the Pacific, I want to show you something. See this? This is a typhoon. What this typhoon is going to do, believe it or not, we're talking about a half a world away. This typhoon is going to go north, up east of Japan, and get hooked up with the jet stream and cause a lot of turmoil, because this high pressure ridge here in the Pacific, this has got to go up and around it. It's going to add energy to the jet stream, causing the jet stream to change. And what will happen is this big ridge of high pressure retrogrades, the jet stream then buckles right there. There it is. The typhoon, here it is, gets sucked up into the jet stream, causes this high pressure to change, this high pressure to retrograde, and all of a sudden, cold air up in the northern latitudes, the door gets open to Canada. Basically, it's just like opening a freezer door. You have the door closed here. The typhoon comes up, the door opens, and then the cold releases. And this is in a very extensive area. See all this packing of these black lines? This is showing how strong the jet stream is and how far it's digging west of the divide. A lot of times these will get cut east of the divide like that, but this one, as long as it stays this far west, is going to bring a big impact. Now, it's early in the game. It could shift more east, but right now it's looking like the cold is going to be centered in the Rockies. Here's a zoom in of that same pattern. This is by Monday afternoon. So by Monday afternoon, by noon Monday, the cold air will be to about Casper, Wyoming, with rain and upslope developing behind it. Here's the cold air if you were able to see it by Monday afternoon. The line of the very strong push of cold air is right along here by, let's say, 5 or 6 o'clock Monday. So Colorado and these areas here will have a Labor Day that will be pretty event-free, but not in Montana, Wyoming, and the Dakotas. Look at temperatures by Tuesday. This is noon Tuesday. These are deviations from normal. Denver, 46 degrees below normal. Cheyenne, 44 degrees below normal. 38 degrees below normal in Casper. Look at this big area of purple. Just a tremendous plunge of cold air that's coming into the region. Look at the precipitation. If this happens, the wildfire season in Montana, Wyoming, and Colorado and New Mexico is probably over. This is widespread rain. Lots of areas showing more than an inch, at least a half inch to 3/4 of an inch. We really need the moisture. We really do. But it's going to come with a lot of cold air. And voila, look at that. Again, this is far out, but this is pretty extensive. When you have, this is September 8th and 9th, when you have snow in the mountains around Albuquerque, you're talking about a heck of a cold front, and even snow out on the eastern plains of Colorado and western Kansas, even western Nebraska. Interstate 80 between Cheyenne and Rawlins could be travel problems. 287 from Collins to Laramie. Snowy Range Pass, Battle Mountain Pass, all the mountain passes of Wyoming and Colorado, Monday night and Tuesday are going to get snowed on if this pattern holds. These are forecasted low temperatures Wednesday morning. These are not in Celsius. These are in Fahrenheit. Again, this is far out, but I want to show you how extreme this change is. We're showing a low of 17 in Laramie and Cheyenne, 11 in Laramie, Walden, Colorado, a low of 8. Now, this is extreme. Whether or not we hit these temperatures, don't know. But what will happen Tuesday night is skies may clear out, then temperatures will drop. Look at these 20s and 30s in Nebraska, northeastern Colorado. Front Range in the upper 20s. These temperatures are likely going to be below freezing long enough to pretty much put an end to the growing season in many areas. So if you're a gardener, stay tuned. We're going to do a special update on Labor Day. We're going to give you a Labor Day update, Labor Day morning. So we'll give you an update then. But I would plan on, if a gardener is listening to this, you're going to have to cover things up. We're far enough out that things will change. We'll update you on Monday morning if they do. In the meantime, plan for this big, significant shift in the weather. Remember this, where there's one extreme with the weather, the opposite is happening somewhere else. So while we have had a very hot August, we had that little cool down earlier in the week, but we're going to have another little pocket of heat come on in. Remember, the opposite is happening somewhere else. That being an area of the globe in the northern hemisphere that's a lot colder than normal, and that's been in northwest Canada. So it's not unusual to go to one extreme to another when you have these extremes because they're right next to each other, and all you need is a weather pattern change to really upend things. Thanks for watching and listening to the Day Weather Podcast. Wait for our update on Monday. Have a good weekend.